Hope everybody's doing good. Regardless, if you're on TikTok, I'm going to just basically talk about a lot of stuff about investing pre-IPO again. Today, session is all really behind, and I will be talking on Sunday at 4 p.m. again on this topic about investing in pre-IPO for those who are interested and want to watch again. Let's see. I'm trying to find the option to share my desktop, which is where I had problem last time. Would anyone know how to do live on YouTube and share your desk? Because I don't know if it's because I don't have the right viewers or what's causing me from not being able to. I should have done more testing. Of course, just had too much going on to me all day trying to do stuff for me to be able to do that. So, what's the feature? What's the feature? All right. Regardless, if I can't see the desktop, which is what I really wanted to show you guys, I'm going to get started then and talk about. So both of you guys, regardless if you're on TikTok or YouTube, you will not be able to see my desk because I got to figure out why that doesn't allow me to do it. So we'll just start talking about investing. So thank you for all of you who are actually joining me. So there's a lot I want to cover. Move this to the side. I'm trying to get myself ready here. All right. So for those of you who are here and really want to know about investing pre-IPO, the question comes first to you is about, why do you really want to invest? So if you could leave me a comment and basically just want to know why do you want to learn about investing and what do you think you know about investing? I've been doing it a little bit about 4 years. Actually, before I start, you could leave a comment, but what I'm going to do is actually give you a highlight of what I'm going to cover tonight because actually my email blast didn't go out the way I wanted. So nothing worked tonight. So, it is what it is, but we're going to do the best that we can for those of you who are committed to learning about investing in yourself. And again, you could leave, the chat is on, so you could actually, in YouTube, you could actually chat with me. Okay. All right. So again, thank you for coming and learning about pre-IPO. So what we're going to go over is basically some of the things tonight, and again, same thing I'll repeat tomorrow for you who want to learn about investing pre-IPO. We are going to go over the new rules of investing, so you guys could get a better understanding of what it means to be invested in this crowdfunding industry called pre-IPO. We're going to look into investing terminologies, where to find them, and what do you need to know about investing, because it's very regulated and there's a lot of rules, but not that in the sense that it's so complicated that you can't understand or participate in. We're going to look at some investments, companies. Again, I was hoping to show my screen with you guys, so unfortunately I can't do it. And most likely what I probably will do is not as time record this and put it on YouTube or put it on private, depends what happens, so that you guys can get access to the information I wanted to share, because there's a lot of things you need to see on the back behind the scenes. I was actually going to do that so you guys could see all, because it's all free to actually go online and I'll capture screen to go online and actually register. It doesn't cost you anything to register to invest in yourself, and that's really what investing pre-IPO is. It's investing in yourself for success. So one of the companies we're going to look at a lot is Boxable, Jet Token, and Lyft Aircraft, and we're going to talk about a terminology called E, the EVTOL, and I'll explain what that means as well. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I want to talk about the mindset of investing, which is so important as well. Where to join, if you want to learn, and my platforms for pre-IPO, I have some information I've been working on for a while, but because so much stuff is happening fast, it's easier to just have a discussion online privately as a membership for us to discuss about investing. So probably going to change how I go about doing it. If you are interested, I'm actually going to do some promotion with discount if you want to join my subscription based membership platform to look at and basically discuss investing in certain companies. And the difference for me and other people, well, I shouldn't say other people because I don't know what other people do per se. I know what I do, and that is basically evaluate. And I'm heavily focused on technology companies, and have a background in IT. So that's why. We're also going to look at excuses that we have for why we can't invest, and that's one of the things I want to help people solve today, and making a sound decision to know that anybody can actually start investing in pre-IPO. And that's one of the things I hope to get out of this for you, wherever you are financially, wherever you are age-wise, maturity, at least 18 years old, you need to be, and then basically, have a bank account or credit card to start investing. So we're going to take out the excuses of that. The misnomers about investing, what is it not? We're going to talk about that and actually have a list of stuff I want to go over. Basically, just to kind of give you a mindset of understanding that some people think investing, when you look at crowdfunding, which is different in the sense of Indiegogo, the Kickstarter, stuff like that, or people doing charity stuff online and they call it crowdfunding. So the word is loosely used, but the true definition is pre-IPO, where you actually invest in a company, sometimes to go public, sometimes not, So that's that. So we're looking into that. And again, I'm going to show you some cost-effective companies, and I even found one that's even dirt cheap. As well as going to look at the average cost, so you know up front, to invest into any company starts from $100, and $250 is the average. And then there's companies that's higher. For example, I'm talking about Boxable. Boxable started out 3.5 years ago for about $500, folks. And you still had 14 cents of shares you could got. And I went crazy investing in Boxable because I saw the vision, and I'm gonna go deep into Boxable tonight because there's some big news I have to share. I have a couple of big news to share with you guys. So hang in there. We're gonna go deep into this stuff and about investing in it, and hopefully answer some of your questions as well. We're going to look at terminologies because I want to, in the sense of, okay, the word credit investor and stuff like that, and things that we don't understand. A lot of us, hopefully wish there was more people on, but of course it is what it is. And the same people that's going to have the misunderstanding of what does it mean to be a credit investor? What does it mean to invest in pre-IPO? And I'm going to tell you that, yes, everybody can invest. This misnomer, misinformation that you have or still understand, I'm going to explain that into details as well too, because there is more to investing than just being an accredited investor, and what does it mean? Because the word also has changed over time too. So we're going to look into those things. Some of the common words that we're going to talk about and define them is SAFE, SPAC, Regulation C, Regulation D, A+ rating, and then accredited investor. Like I said, we're going to talk about these three companies: Boxable, Jet Token, which has gone public, Lyft Aircraft, and then some other things. I'll drop some nuggets as well too, based on timing and what you guys do. So to start from scratch, about me, so I've been investing since 2018, and prior to that, what this sleeps, I missed that. So prior to that, folks, and feel free to share this live with anybody else because I'm going to be here for a while, go into deep conversation about it. So again, and I'll probably take answers on questions afterwards because I'm going to have a lot to cover tonight. So, 2018 or so, I got serious about investing. And also prior to that, 2017, because I'm an entrepreneur, been involved in business for a long time, done a lot of stuff in marketing, and also have an IT background. So technology has been around me since I was a kid. I'm 48, so um, I've been in the IT field, about 35 years plus. And pre-IPO investing is just another extension because my passion always been around business. So investing, networking, as well as building businesses. And as I got older and wiser, been around successful people. The truth is, you want to be in systematic businesses today because the world has changed. I'm watching some stuff about Maui. People don't understand and how the world is changing, and terminology are changing. And we're going to talk about terminology today. So my passion for entrepreneurship, and also being in companies where we talked about residual income for a number of years has been the reason why this is another graduation step. And also, one thing for me, I'm a student of Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy, and one of the things I was going to show you is the screen where it's talking about the BNI quadrant, and ENS, and it's hard to explain what versus being visual to show you, but we'll play with it. Like I said, I will record this privately and then go into greater details where I could actually show my screen. So we'll figure out why we can't do that. So by being into companies and being around successful people and understand passive income, and also as I was always interested in learning how to trade the stock market, the biggest thing is losing money and knowing that I had a learning curve to have. And you cannot be afraid to pay money to get the classes, to get the education, because there's so much to invest in. So I realized, what, again, I'm a visionary and it's very key to pre-IPO investing. But what being a visionary for me means that, wait a minute, how come these companies had investors already? How come these companies also had people who were positioned for success? So by the time you came out and in the stock market, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, all this stuff, we are paying retail price. You never thought about that. We are paying retail price. So that led me to, understanding the shift of how wealthy people create wealth, generational wealth. And this is what I'm about and what I teach and what I focus on and helping small businesses as well. And that requires you to shift your thinking and also look at what are the wealthy people doing? They're actually investing ahead of time. And usually the term, aside from accredited investor, is angel investors. Big companies, Silicon Valley, we hear a lot about Silicon Valley investing in companies. Apple, I'm a big Apple person back in the day. So these companies go to New York Stock Exchange, and basically seek investors, big money, industries, tycoons who have built companies, and they take a share of the company. So that interests me, and so I try to learn to invest in the stock market. And man, I lost money. I learned to trade options over time because again, I didn't want to just do again. Those are the things that wealthy people did, trade options, and then realized still did not know enough, and buying one contract per se, So I don't trade stocks anymore. I trade options. Got into crypto, and honestly, crypto has. Thank you, Steve. Liking the live, I appreciate that, sir. Um, Everybody else, thank you. Kudos for those who sticking around, but we're just getting started. So watch this. That started the whole desire for me when I got into crypto to get deeper, because investing has always been a passion of mine, and so that led me to, looking at companies that was not qualified because I was not a accredited investor. So I put that aside and did other things in investing, businesses and stuff like that. And then the laws changed, folks. And we're going to talk about on a particular dates of the laws when they changed. And that's what started everything for me, 2018, 2019. And I went gun ho on investing. So we're going to get deep into that as well, too. So that's a little bit about myself, So investing is a global thing. You could go anywhere you want to and invest from home. because the companies. Let me say something about the companies because it's not part of my agenda. And I'm going to talk about SmartEngine in particular, for example, as one of the main platforms I use. One of the things about investing in pre-IPO is that the companies are vetted. So it's not something where, oh, you're just gonna, someone filming good companies, and there's platforms like that, there's different levels of investing like everything else. There's high end, there's still companies that you have to be a accredited investor to get access to, which we'll talk about when it comes to preferences, because that's part of the issue of setting up your profile. And that's one of the things I was hoping to show you, because that sets a tone of what you get access to, what you could see, and also your income level. So when we're talking about those different terminologies, I explain into details about that as well too. But there's a lot of different types of investing. There's digital real estate investing that I've been doing for last year. There's actually this week, I actually stumbled upon a company which I won't go into detail about that, because again, my mindset, which we were talking about, of what I'm looking for to invest, led me to these things. So land, you could actually have access to buy land properties and take shares of that company, property. So again, and that's actually from the next phase of things I'm doing in business, to have the ability to have passive income be generated for me. So that's one of the reasons. And again, that's why you are in pre-IPO, to look at these opportunities before everybody else, because literally, when you go to stock exchange, you are paying retail price. And if you truly want to be an investor, you want to be ahead of the curve. You want to have the risk tolerance to be successful and stay within the process, because it is a process to get to that level of a company going public. All right. So that's a little bit about that. So let's talk about mindset. Again, this week, Michael Burry, someone who's a stock exchange investor, put something big out there. And actually, let me pull out my screen. And what he did is that he took a gamble, and I say the word loosely, the gamble, because most of you will think that's a gamble, because who has $1.6 billion? And so he took out $1.6 billion in stock option, probably, to hedge against the stock market going to crash. And he's done it before in the past. And he, I guess the movie Big Short was, basically famously for his past, success and vision to see and predict. I think it was the real estate debacle that happened. And basically, like other investors, if they strongly believe. And I was going to do a TikTok video about this, but I didn't have a chance to. And here's why I like this guy, and more in particular, what he did. Because, see, just like investing, you have to put your money where your mouth is. It's not about just talking about, oh, I like investing. I like, because when I talk about the retail side, we see these companies, the McDonald's, the this and that, and we go, oh my God, look at this company. I wish well, now I'm telling you where it is. At least some of the majority companies that's on the path of crowdfunding, where you can actually invest in them without having to be a millionaire. That's the difference. Seeing things that's coming about after the fact. And here's another pointer. One of the things, and that's the distinguish people for thinking that, oh, pre-IPO is gimmicks of people trying to do this, like a hustle. No, the difference between Kickstarters, the Indiegogos, and these other type of funding platforms or funding things, you have to know your funding properly. Versus these accredited companies that's well established. Kevin Larry is a partner of SmartEngine. He's not the owner. People get that confused, but was hired a few years ago, and there was another company which I'm put that in. I'm going to give it to you, but I'll put that in my email blast for those who subscribe, register to for my platform, because it's another platform information which I'll give you the nuggets also, and because things are different, so I might just do everything posted. Actually, I'm not able to type, so it's probably easy if I just tell you. But all that information will be in the email blast if you choose to register and subscribe. And I say that because these companies have already been established, and that's part of the big difference. An established company that's having funds, is progressing, but they may want to move faster because they want to go public. And there's also the difference between the angel investor. The angel investor, imagine this: You're the man. You got the money. You basically, you come in your suit, to a room. Let's say you're going to a club, like, and you're looking good, sharp. You got money flying your money. It's like everybody's gonna come at you. So an angel investor in that aspect say, you need me, then I need you. So therefore, I'm going to take more of the risk by putting my money on the line for your ass, and therefore, I get more of the controlling shares, and I get more of the power in the future when hopefully your company, and it's not something about them believing in your company being successful, is that it's an opportunity, it's greed, it's, hey, we're here to, and again, wealthy people is about, adding upon stacks of their wealth, and making the money work for them, which is something I'm going to talk about in a second. So Michael Burry, he put his money where his mouth is by telling people that, hey, I believe strongly that the market's going to go down. I'm hedging and putting $1.6 billion dollars, and he's going. And again, this happened again in the real estate market, even .com too, because if you've been around a long time, there's a bubble, and then when the bubble bursts, those who are the visionaries versus those who are holding the bag are the one that wins. So as an investor, I am committed to investing in companies, and I've already had some success stories. Boxer was one of my famous success stories, even though the company hasn't gone public yet. And why it's successful is because that company, 14 cents it was. And basically it's over 80 cents now. And somebody said, well, what's the difference? Nothing. Well, a lot of us are in crypto on TikTok here. But at the same time, the difference is that you are not dealing with the fluctuation of greed. Oh, people are, pricing you out of the market, this and that. It's stable. It's locked in at the same price, and depending on how much of the round it goes on, you could still buy. And actually, Boxer will be at 80 cents per share, several rounds now, 3 rounds at least. And I'm actually waiting to see if they close. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more too, and what could happen, because and that's what's sweet about it. Where you're locked into an investment, you got tons of shares that's offered to you before the masses get access to it. Preferred shares, there's common shares. It's usually common shares, and you have to read the details of the contract. But what happens is also, you are not price gouged out of the opportunities. Even today, like I said, sometimes I'm bougie where I look at companies where $10 a share, and then I get paid a lot of money. I kind of like, I'll pass unless it's very important of a company that I think is worth the investment. I will usually pass. And so that's one of the things that I do. So let me get on to another important thing. And again, I wish you guys could have seen these stuff, because it's kind of interesting. So another thing to think about, mindset when it comes to investing is that Google, I just saw a post on Decrypt, which is a crypto space. Google says is they're testing AI life coaches, and it baffled me because I was like, damn, there is no job that is secure, and that's why I always say that people talk about job security, because even a life coach, really, AI is going to solve it. So when I was writing about entrepreneurship many years ago, people did not understand it, didn't see, because I'm a visionary and I see things, and this is one of the benefits of what I offer in coaching and consulting people about pre-IPO investing, because you have to have a vision to see. Now, you mentioned that in one of the quotes. What is it? And so life coaching, amongst the many other jobs that will be affected by AI technology. And this is something else I want to put on TikTok, but again, I didn't have the chance to do. The one way for those of us, especially those of us who are business people, you saw the internet, and if you've been around for a long time, you sometimes at first resisted the idea of, why do I have to go put my brick and mortar business online? Well, I'm going to tell you now, and please listen carefully. If you don't think about integrating AI into your business in the next coming years, you'll be out of business. Just like the metaverse and that. And actually, some of the stuff I'm going to talk about two companies that is in competition with Google Glasses, and another one that's actually doing some things with augmented reality, virtual glasses. We're going to look at that company. and it's just telling you where the future is going. So what I want you as a business owner right now to think about, if you listen to me very carefully, the same way the internet changed how we do business today, AI is going to do the same thing. And I feel like right now, from what I'm seeing and something I was listening to recently, AI is going to replace the internet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, I seriously mean that. In the sense that it's evolving the internet to be a more interactive thing. I'm also Star Trek fan, and so the best way for me to help you understand if you watch Star Trek is understand this. If you remember Data, which is the computer that talks and trying to be human-like, this and that, Data actually is the full-fledged. You don't see people playing on computer. There's a computer screen. Computer. They talk to the ship. It's a full-blown computer. So that's AI in the essence of where we are today and where we are going to go in the future. So take that in grain of salt and understand that AI is going to evolve the internet to the next level, and you need to embrace that as a business person. The other thing that I want to share when it comes to mindset is understand that, I've talked about this in the past presentations I've done about the psychology of the market. It's a famous graph, and it's used for the stock market a lot. But the philosophy, okay, my name is Nick, and I'm in the euphoria stage of trading this week. Trading the investing, you mean, or just trading crypto or stock market? That's in relation to Nick's comment. But the psychology of the market, I got you. Well, we're talking about pre-IPO, so hold the horses because I may talk about crypto. Actually, I will because there's some things I want to cover about that in relation to pre-IPO. I am mining, and I'm actually have them off so I could sort of cancel the noise. But there's a lot. Well, let me say this about mine since you asked the question. Mining is no different from me as a philosophy of understanding passive income and residual income long term and investing again. Again, it comes back to that vision, and this is why I talk about psychology of the market, because investing, and again, depends what you invest into, because I invest heavily into technology companies. There's a big cycle of euphoria, like I said, because there's that cycle of, oh, I made my first investment. But again, it's a time horizon, because for your purpose and success, this is not a get rich quick scheme. So investing in pre-IPO requires you to have invested and wait and wait and keep waiting. Because on average, technology companies, if they're good and more complex, takes 10 years on average before they go public. Nightscope just went public a few months ago. It might have been last year, forgot. But they are a big visionary company. Basically replacing the process of security, and they're growing steadily. This now it's one of my big, and we'll talk about the word, uh, you know, um, the whales of companies or unicorns. Excuse me, is the word I'm looking for, and most people again chasing money are chasing these big companies that they think are going to do huge. And I have a variety of investments, so it's not about chasing a whale. It's about diversifying your investments so that hey, one pops this and that, great, you're successful. So I don't look at trying to get invested just to go after a whale based. I'm sorry, unicorn company. Um, Sometimes I see unicorns if I'm close to the time team or not. Again, I don't get involved too much in meme coins, and I don't promote meme coins stuff for that. So tonight, like I say, it's not about per se crypto. So if you want to hang around and learn about pre-IPO investment, because there is some companies that are actually in the space of crowdfunding that is looking for investment, and actually one of them, which I'll be talking about, is Realm. Realm was actually in the pre-IPO phase, and because I already am in cryptocurrency and knew about RDS, knew about Gala Games and all these other things and other investments in digital worlds that Realm was involved in, she was a no-brainer for me, and I haven't invested in that. Fortunately, the company, this is how big they are. I'm talking about angel investors. They were, actively accepting investors. But because angel investors are big and potentially that Realm will become in the future, because Realm has a lot of partnerships. And this is Realm Metaverse, and kind of skipping ahead, they actually took them off a crowdfunding platform and went private. That's how serious it was, you know. So, hopefully in the next few years, be a credit investor to get access to these key companies like that. Because again, and when I say credit investor, we're talking about $10,000s and more to invest, $5,000 and more. So it's not some small amounts. Like I said, the average regular pre-IPO crowdfunding is between $100 to $250 to invest in these companies. So it's different. So back to the psychology of the markets, you have to be patient. It takes time. And me, I'm a person, when I invest, I set it and forget it with one caveat. Until your round closes, which we'll talk about some more, it's not over. And you could get kicked out in the sense that sometimes you have to verify changes that's taking place within the company. And that affects you in the sense that you have to, because again, regulation. And if you don't properly confirm that investment, and again, if I could show you my screen, I'm sure it had some listener. Some of them I didn't care as much for. Sometimes I just, if I want to see the detail of the company, I have to click on it. And therefore it acts as if I'm trying to invest in it. And so, well, one of the platforms, like I said, is Start Engine, and I have a link, and basically you could actually get free shares of Start Engine as well. And if you're interested why that's important, you can privately message me. Again, this stuff is, I think the description is in I didn't put it there because I did the promo video. It's in there, and I think it's in TikTok as well too, to get free shares of that. And I on average, I have 5 companies, 5 platforms that I actually look at. 2 of them I heavily invest a lot of them in, and one of them is more toward the credit investor platform. But again, it's based on you could access a lot of stuff based on what the company, who goes to where, because you don't control the company that goes into a different platform. What you control is your preferences and your level of income and status that determines what you could see inside of the platforms per se. No, I'm not. Hopefully getting up there, you could say, in the next few years because of some of the stuff I've been investing for a long time as well. So let me show one more thing I wanted to talk about: mindset. So if you want to go fast, it says go alone, and investing in pre-IPO is a long game, for most of the part. If you want to go far, it says go together, So I'm doing both, here, because I don't need to be here to do this. But a lot of people, again, for the success. So this is a thank you for my channel and TikTok going, to the level it is today. That's why I'm doing this. But overall, it is an individual sport to invest in pre-IPO because you have to think about a lot of stuff ahead of time before the masses see it, because pre-IPO is behind the scenes, so that's important. So if you want to invest and actually sign up for my platform, it's basically invest.frederickcapital.com. Not sure if I could, it's in my bio, actually. You can go there. Again, I put this stuff on the previous, it's pinned also the video promoting this, and I'll probably try to put some more. Like, again, if you join my email list, you're going to get those email blasts eventually that has all those links in there as well. So it's invest.frederickcapital.com. And basically, I'm changing the way I do things because it's easier. So much stuff to look at. Like this past week, I was looking at a lot of investments, and there's some serious deadlines that I'm trying to meet because, investments have timelines, which we'll talk about when we look at different types of terms of investing. So let me go to the next thing. So let's talk about misnomers about investing, because that's where a lot of people are stuck at and fail to move towards the next hurdle of committing to invest in themselves. Because let me say this, it's more about mindset too. Whatever your limitation, restrictions, or whatever things holding you back investing, or even the choice to not even venture do it if you really are on the fence, think about it this way. When you go to your job, if you have a job per se, you get a 401k package. What you fail to understand is that again, you are on the retail side. Your 401k is these companies that I see that I'm invested in. Trust me, for those who are listening right now, in the next few years, in probably 5 to 10 years, Boxable is going to be so huge that it will be part of those offerings in your 401k. And that's basically big corporations, getting shares, institutions investing in that kind of company. And it's going to happen this coming year and next year as the company continues to grow. They just finished their third, basically working on what's called the Boxzilla, third manufacturing plant, which is very huge. Each one keeps getting bigger and bigger. And again, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is that there is so much competition now. What started as a little tiny house, people making fun of it, and that's called having vision to see stuff. And now the industry is being solidified and being respected, and it's getting big. The space is getting crowded, actually, and there's different levels. And one of the things we're going to talk about as a bonus is one company that actually is giving Boswell a run for its money. And I think it's on a high end level, and I think it's still, tiny home space. It's huge, but careful with the word because it's not a tiny home that you think. Because this is a real full scale, livable. You're not bending your head over, bending your back. After spending a couple hours in there, it's a full functional housing. And and let me stop right there because and this is where I'm going to get into Boxable when we talk about reviewing companies. The space is changing because of how it's ironic that we're talking about Boxable in the time of investing because if Boxable was fully functional because they have a lot of investment in this technology, it's basically affordable. If you don't know anything about Boxable, it is affordable um, housing within an hour could be set up and basically ready to live in and fully functional. Prefab with stuff, washer and dryer, bathroom, full bed space. Could use that as office space. So it's amazing. You have to see a video to fully understand it. Again, in pre-IPO, again, if I was able to show my screen again, you would have been able to see it. But it's and one of the reasons I like it, and I'm kind of skipping ahead, is because Boxable is not just about housing. It's going to reshape how you look at and how the industry overall develops housing. And that's why there's so many, I call it Mickey Mouse copies of companies trying to duplicate what Boxable is already doing. So we're going to get back into that later on when we talk about it. So let's talk about misnomers. So what is pre-IPO investing and what is it not? So let me go some stuff I put together. So here's the pros and cons, and I'm going to start with the cons, okay? So pre-IPO investing is not get rich quick scheme. And again, and that's hard for people because it is a waiting game. Once you invest, it takes time. And it depending on the kind of company. Like I said, I only invest in technology-based companies for a number of reasons too. But it takes time to develop. And again, technology is capital intensive and also resource intensive. Shipping things internationally and also getting these supplies and stuff like that. So one of the biggest things is that you have to be patient because it does take the time for these companies to go public. And sometimes there's other reasons for why companies move and go public. One of them is going to be Jet Token, which just went public this past 2 weeks. And I'm going to talk about that. And they went through the SPAC, which is a term we're going to talk about in a second. So again, it's not a get rich play. It's a get wealthy slow process. Get wealthy slow. Next is investing is speculative, but can be informative. And that's one of the things I do. My job and what I try to do for you as an investor is educate you on what I see and in particular some companies. And actually I had a couple YouTube videos that I wanted to show you guys because today I just stumbled upon them. One of them, when I get to it, actually, it's a company called Swivel, Switch e-bike, and the way and what they came out with was a different concept. Again, this is more visual side of like a battery pack, put it on top of a bike. The one thing you get that's different is you replace the front wheel of the bike, and now you could get an electric bike without the cost. I'm sitting there watching that within minutes. I'm like, yo, I wish, and this is not a pre-IPO investment. I saw the vision, saw the potential, because I'm always looking at unique technology to invest in, and that's important. So If you guys are enjoying this, please share it and like this video so that way, or this live, so that have people see it more. Again, you could join. Well, there's nothing to join because and I could take questions and see comments if you have any comments on my YouTube channel if you are there as well too. So to continue, let me go on. So investing, so folks, is not cheap. So it's not for those who are cheap or penny pinching, and also someone's trying to put their whole, life savings or my last dollar per se into a company. Again, because pre-IPO investing takes time, and it's not an overnight thing because there's a lot of regulation. So that phase of pre-IPO is just a phase that starting, for example, as a platform, is just a middle man, a middle woman person that actually manage you to actually see in a platform that everybody could invest in a crowd sense. And then they, as the company, is the person or company itself that is going to get and seeking fund and raising capital. And then all Start Engine, for example, does is just manage the transaction of helping you and the company. Then the company goes afterwards when it's done, closing around, to what's called a transfer agent. And that transfer agent is where you hold longer, or if it's depending on the kind of platform it is. Like I have several of them now because I have so many different investments. Now they actually basically what give you the option if you could sell it, if the shares, if you want to get out early, or you just have it sitting there as a transfer agent for it, and then when you go public, you transfer it to your stock exchange. And that's the process. But also in the between that is a lot of regulation that happens, and there's other things which how Start Engine is unique because so many platforms that early if you want to sell early. So the cons of that, it is not telling you what to invest in. My job is not to tell you what to just to inform you something that you see to help you stretch your vision of that investment so you could make a better investing decision. That's all I provide you. I'm only here to provide you with the knowledge and insight that you may not be thinking of. So it is not for everybody, because sometimes people have to vision see something, its potential, full potential. And you have to have a vision and stick and stay mentality to invest in pre-IPO because it is a long wait. Actually, a lot of my success, you could say success today that I'm having in 2023, and it's twofold. Companies that I invested 3 years ago, that's going public now or got bought out now, and then there's some dividends plays that are not properly ready to go public or in the process of wanting to go public. And I actually invest in them, and I don't do it too often, and I get dividends, and the majority of these public certain notes and stuff like that come to fruition, So it's another play of why I invest in those type of companies as well. Again, it's not too many of them that I do that. What is pre-IPO investing? It is definitely not retail, like I said, and I say retail for a reason because retail, you get a fluctuation of the markets. You're not getting early buy-ins versus where, like I said, Boxable was 14 cents. By the time institutions see, for example, a company like a Boxable in the future or a Lyft Aircraft, for example, jet token that just went public, again, those companies, again, they're technology based, they're far ahead of their maturity per se. One good example for those of you who are thinking about what I said, think about 3D printing. You haven't heard nothing about 3D printing. I've been watching a couple companies that will survive as this industry merges over time because there'll always be, just like crypto, there's a lot of companies that can come about, it's not trying to do the same thing, but only 3 or 4 will survive in the end as the industry matures, like everything else. So it's retail because you're not getting the best price. And that's what I realized when I was reflecting about, as an entrepreneur to invest. What do wealthy people do? They invest beforehand, and that's the difference. So your 401ks, your retirement, if you have a pension, whatever, you got retail stocks, while wealthy people got firsthand access. to these rounds of companies, and the institutions sometimes too. They'll get in early because they're buying bulks of shares before the company goes public, so you could get the best price as well, and then offer it to you as a consumer. So investing is not about putting all in black, for example, as if you were in a casino gambling and hoping to get rich. It is not a rich process. It's a wealthy store, like I said before. It's not like anything else that you buy and put away for later. And that's very important because, like I said before, if you do not pay attention to your round, and SmartTrader has a great graph that actually shows you the process of your investment. Until that round is closed, folks, you are still at risk of losing your investment in that round. Not losing your money. I mean, when I say by losing, I'm saying that, oh, I thought I invested, you bragging up to your friends or whatever, you invest in this company. Well, there was a change made, you didn't check your email, and you had to confirm your email. Excuse my voice. And by not confirming, and I tell you, it happened to one of my good friends, and when it started impossible, it's not like stock market. You bought the shares, you're all set, and it's done. Pre-IPO investing, until the round is closed officially, your money goes through, which is the first beginning part. There's two ways to do it. You could have it uploaded and held, and then deducted from the thing. So you could say dollar cost averaging into investing, something I'm going to be doing more often in the future. Or you could actually, use a credit card. And let me talk about credit card a little bit because that's important. You know, People gamble, and I'm not a person that buys lotteries when I say gamble. And you cannot use, and that's a little tip for you guys, you cannot use a credit card to gamble. When I found out you could actually use basically a credit card for pre-IPO investing, I'm like, oh my God, you don't even understand, you know. But it's not in the sense that you're trying to leverage debt to, like wealthy people do. It's not the same thing. But understand that having access to funds when you know something's important to invest, because when you close around, you don't know if it's going to come back, and that's another important thing, because time is of the essence, and companies can't close early. It's happened before. Boxer did that last round. Had a long A rating, A plus rating round, and it was doing very well, but it got stagnant. Eventually, they closed around because of that. So it can happen. So you don't want that to happen to you. I've had it happen to me as well, and I was pissed because holla, Granny, Crypto Granny. So when you close that round and you miss out the opportunity, what happens to you is that you miss the frame of the price, you miss the frame of the stock per share. And again, because Boxwell, for example, you see something, oh, it's going to come out, doesn't guarantee it's going to come around. It also doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it at the same price points. And you have to be aware of that too. And that's a misnomer people have of failing to reach that level of success. So investing, folks, is not about putting it on in black and hoping to get rich. You'll lose every single time. It's not like anything else. Like I say, you put away for later, because later could cost you because you didn't see. And you have 7 days to confirm your investment if there's a change. So keep that in mind. PRE investing is a first mover advantage. I love that because it is what wealthy people do. First mover advantage to get access to these shares dirt cheap, and you are the visionary that saw it before everybody else sees it. This information, and this is a character. I don't know if you want to call it character flaw, or it's the mindset of us as investors. I'm gonna say credit investors. Uh, They are worse because they get bigger bulk of shares of a company, and they make moves with these shares that they purchase, and they'll gobble up a lot of shares, to have controlling stakes in the company. But it's a first mover advantage because aside from an angel investor, you are accessing funds and access to a company where you are getting it dirt cheap. It's important, more than the retail price people later on will pay. Some of the things, personally, I won't say details, but some of the things I'm doing with the Boxable is I have a lot of shares of Boxable, and I will be selling that some of that. in the future when people understand and talking about Maxwell a lot, because I will be selling at $1,000 per share per 100 shares versus I got a couple of 100,000 for being so early. And that's why I buy. I don't need to buy more, but my greedy ass keep buying the shares. I'm just greedy like that because I have some play I'm going to do because I understand how big Boston is going to be in the future. So let's talk about the pros of pre-IPO investing. What is it versus what it was not? So what is it? Is that it's investing highly regulated, folks. So for people who's trying to come in not understand pre-IPO investing, thinking that it's it's a gimmick, this and that, or companies no, there's a lot of scrutiny these companies because they are getting ready to go public. So they're basically forming in line. So one of the biggest things about SPACs, like this company Jet, the AI I'm going to talk about, they did something that pissed me off in the sense that I lost a lot of shares because they did a SPAC. So a SPAC basically is a partnership. So when we talk about SPACs in terms, I'm going to skip over SPACs. And the SPACs basically is a faster way for a company to partner up with another company and go public. And that company that's already public is in the stock market. They average on $10 per share, uh, but they don't move. It's almost like a stable coin if you're talking about crypto language. And what happens is that because they already passed through the regulation, they are able to buy or partner up with a company. In this case, SPACs became popular in the last 3 years, 2, 3 years per se. And now a company who doesn't have all the ducks in a row could join and partner up, sometimes bought out from the original company to go public. And in this case, for Jet AI, is they split the shares. So I lost some shares. I actually had a reverse share done to me. And then there's other cases where the company doesn't go public; they actually get bought out, and you get your return on your investment. It depends how it moved, if it did have any moves, because each round, and I love rounds when they close, and that's one of the reasons I love it because again, it's more stable, and also as the rounds go up, there's more shares being offered also, but the value of the company goes up sometimes, actually most of the time. And that's a good thing. So while you're waiting for your shares of the company that you love or you invested in to go public, you're watching that you are basically increasing your net worth of your investment while it's still in pre-IPO. That's the first mover advantage. No one can mess around with that company. You have because so imagine okay, you trying to run for a track, you prepping your exercise and you're working out so now you're fit, and you still trying to prep while somebody's actually running the track, and that success is already there versus now someone trying to catch up. That's why I think it's called relay. Someone's grabbing the baton, moving forward and passing it to the next person. It's powerful. So you have the first mover advantage like that when you're on pre-IPO investing. So um, that's key. So you are investing in yourself, and your financial future. It's important. So it is a single or sports like a golf game. There's not too many, you may have people per se, and you don't invest in groups per se when you invest in pre-IPO, and there's regulations against that. It is a passive income play, and it's a long passive income play as a whole. So folks, I know, hey, it may be somebody's on live on YouTube. Thank you for joining me live. So didn't have the screens the way I wanted to, so it's okay. I'm going to do a pre-recording for those of you who are on YouTube as well and do a full to show some of the things I want to talk about visually because it's important to see some stuff. So let's get right to the nitty gritty of stuff. One thing about investing, actually, let me see something. It's less legacy driven is one thing I say. The pros about it. Investing requires you to have a bit of vision to see the impossible, and that's very key because a lot of the fancy stuff that you see, I call it we call it the Jetson mentality, the Jetson vision of the future that some of us could say we live in right now. That's a big deal. I froze for a second there. Because investing truly is a long-term play, folks. When you're investing, you are operating in the BNI quadrant. So one of the things I wanted to actually focus on, and again, disappointed that you guys can't see this, is that again, I'm a student of personal development, but one of the things that's important for me in my learning curve many years ago is looking at Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. And Robert Kiyosaki has a powerful cash flow quadrant. It's also a game if you ever want to play it. And this is where the difference comes in for those of you saying that you want to invest. You know, I said, yeah, there's not a lot of people in it, but this is where people fall apart and fail to understand because I operate right now in the BNI quadrant because it's a shift in thinking, a shift in mindset. And when you try to invest in pre-IPO, because it's really a single person sport game, you know. And if you don't know anything about Robert Kiyosaki's ENS BNI quadrant, basically the E stands for you have a job and your income comes from that job. The S usually stands for self-employed. Um, you are the boss, you own the job, and it's a philosophy about that because sometimes people trying to go from the E to the S, which is what happens, but they don't have the fundamentals for success because they think that it's just like I hate my job or this and that, and then they go try to start their own business, but they fail because they find themselves trapped by the success of that business sometimes. I was just actually going to a restaurant that my wife and I spent a whole 2 weeks trying to go, and it keeps closing. We never saw it open every time we go to it, and we finally went today, and saw the lady, and the lady said, "Yeah, we've been away on vacation." And so a whole company, it's a small little business, restaurant, and that restaurant shuts down because the owner took a vacation break. We took vacation, but I'm a system person. Like someone asked me earlier, you know, on mine, I invest. It's not my investments are working for me, and that's what the philosophy of BNI is. Because B stands for the business owner that has own a business that works for them. They don't work the business. They have systems. They have management in place, and they actually get to go home at nighttime, or instead of being around the clock, stuck to a job. And then there's the investor, which is what I'm trying to help you guys get crossed over to, because the investor has their money working for them. And that's truly where you want to be. So my philosophy, my mindset about investing in pre-IPO is more towards that because I'm having the investment generate money. Now, most of you say, well, I have a 401k. Well, it's not the same thing, more or less, because your 401k is what? Taxable. And then it's also when you're ready to retire that most people think about it and they never touch in between. With my pre-IPO, I could sell if I can, depending on the platform I'm on, before the company goes public. And there's a reason for that. There's lockout periods. And then later on, when it does go public, again, remember, I got the shares way, way, way early than anybody else. So I'm still ahead, So again, it takes vision and foresight to see those opportunities before everybody else sees it. So let's get back to it. So when you're investing, again, you are in the BNI quadrant mindset for investing success. It is the place for opportunity seekers and risk takers because you have to have a tolerance for risk. You have to have a vision to understand what this investment you're putting yourself into, and also that you're going to have your money locked. It's not that simple to just trying to all my money back. It doesn't work like that, And then there's a chance that that money could be gone because the company failed and you lose your investment. That's part of the risk of being a pre-IPO investor too. The rewards is massive success for being early. So it is a safe haven though for dreamers and visionaries and not for dream stealers. And that's key because dream stealers, why are you investing there? Why are you starting this company? Versus you are seeing the opportunity, you're locked in, and basically waiting and prepared for when that company goes public and reap the rewards of your investment early. So let's go now talk about these terms and definitions because that's also important. So hopefully that what is investing helps you guys, not to bore you to death of that, but you have to understand that it's a slow process investing. It's not a long-term play or things you get excited about every day. You just like looking, you can look at, be excited and see your growth. I know my friend and I, when we started looking at and I see the potential what basketball was going to be 3 years ago, we knew the math and now it's ridiculous. And actually, $46 million when nobody saw that what basketball was going to become. Again, you could easily, like I said, Michael Burry, you could talk all the BS you want, but at the end of the day, did you put your money where your mouth is? Do you have the wherewithal, the guts to take that risk? And my friend and I, we took that risk, and it was, regardless of the company has gone public yet, man, massive success, of what this company is doing, and now there's competitors to wannabes as well. So next thing I want to talk about is no excuses for those who claim they do not have money. Because what I'm going to show you, again, unfortunately you guys can't see this, is that on Start Engine and other platforms, of course, they have definitions, but one company in particular that I wanted to show you, actually, there's two of them. What happened to my, okay. I might change some things fast because of not being able to see my screen. So there's a company in Start Engine that's called Legion, and it's been around for a couple of rounds actually. And Legion is actually a company that basically a lot of movie stars are, they have William Shatner and some other Nicolas Cages in there, some other faces that I'm not familiar with, and the lady that played Catwoman, Batman, she's in there. I forgot her name. So it's a movie platform, and is it independent? I don't know if it's an independent movie platform, and they've had some success. Now I'm not a big investor in this type of investment, but I just want to put it as an example to let you know that, because Legion is actually a pre-IPO company that someone can invest in. So for those who say, "Oh, I don't have money," well, do you have? And actually, I rounded it out for $40. It's actually $39.60. It's $1.65 per share. You don't have $40, then we shouldn't be talking about pre-IPO investment. That's a problem for you. So to make it even worse, to cut out the excuses, because I'm getting to a point. There's another platform. I'm sorry, another company that now it's the same platform as Start Engine. For the first time, $10. You don't have $10 to invest in a pre-IPO company, and this company is actually a Picasso. So I don't know if how directly related to Picasso, but they actually doing investment. And basically the minimum investment, folks, is $10. $10. So years ago when I first started, someone I was mentoring asked me that question, and again, this is where most of you guys miss out on the opportunity and say, what is and can I invest in pre-IPO? And the answer is yes. So one platform does it better than the other one, and all of them have a income criteria, because that's what determines the CF funding and A plus funding details, which I'll come to in a second when we look at definitions. And what's very important about that, the minimum low, you broke as hell, and I hope the word broke doesn't mean $10 is broke to you. That just means you don't have $10, I hope. Because 22, and this is per year, maximum you could invest if you are broke as can be, if you want to call yourself broke, in its state of mind, because remember, I'm talking about mindset, is 2250 or 20 to 2500, whatever it is. That's the lowest. And again, so that means what? It doesn't matter whether or not you call yourself an accredited investor. You could be broke with no money, and it will only be the maximum, if you're that broke, is $2,200 or $2,500, whatever it is, per year. So that means you have a whole 12 months to come up with $10 or $40. And that's just to get you started and say, I'm an investor. Worst case, you want to get savvy, spend $100 somewhere in a company. Again, like I said earlier, the average company is about $100 to invest in. Again, if you cannot do those things and that is an issue for you, you're amateur. Don't invest. You're wasting your time. Because the real good stuff, of course, they get a little pricey. But trust me, Jet AI was 30 cents pre-IPO investing. So $10 cents per share. And my minimum was $100, $99 to invest. That company has gone public, It's like, in this, cycles of pre-IPO when they go public, and that's a lot of training. But that was $11 per share when it went public. So imagine how many shares if you had. big difference. Your net return is high. So again, you got to shift your thinking about when you think about, oh, I don't have money, I can't invest. There is no set limit of, oh, I'm too broke that I can't afford to invest. There's no watchdog about looking after you. So we're going to get to the nitty gritty, folks, about excuses of you saying you are not qualified to invest. So we're going to look at the terms and definition. Um, and feel free to ask me questions. I don't mind. It's more intimate that way. And let me see, because I switched my screen, so I don't know if anybody's on YouTube. Okay. All right. So I'm actually looking at some of the screen's information. So every platform that you're on has a whole series of jargons, definitions, terms that you could actually go look up, because um, it's not meant to be scary, but you got to push yourself to want to learn and invest in yourself. And that's the key thing. So again, if you're going to see my screen, angel investor, what do these words mean? So some of the words I have, which is the common ones I'm going to actually talk about and define for you. So safe, let's go right to, actually I have some screenshots, so I'm going to go right to my screenshots about safe. Safe. Actually, okay, let me go directly then to safe. So I could just click on the word safe and see what is a safe, because I want to get the accurate definition for you guys. So a safe basically is the company that's not ready to get, some, like I said, in Indiegogo, Kickstarter, most of these companies have not started or have a product yet. So when you talk about a safe actually is almost like a safe. They don't, not the physical safe, they're not ready to formulate and be a successful company that's grounded and moving along. They basically are you believing in the company and taking the risk and investing in them, and so you get a dividend, check, and usually those promissory notes, something like that, that goes about 3 years on average before. Uh, Thank you for the like. Before you actually get access. And now the companies in the formulation stage are being able to go start in the process of wanting to go public or be a successful company. Trying to find where this actually I could type it into. So that's the cool thing about it. So safe, I invest into a few safe. So what safe is an acronym. What it stands for is a simple agreement for future equity. So that equity, you get a dividend sometimes, depends on the rules and regulation, what you choose and how it goes about, because there's different terms. It may not be promissory notes, which is something else. But I've had some companies, again, I saw the vision potential of the company and I took the risk. And because of that, I took that risk as a safe investment. When that company, some of them, it's been 2023 that actually now, they're ready to fully develop as a company. I get, again, even earlier, because the company's established, they have shares, this and that, they set the tone of the valuation of the company. In a safe, that doesn't exist yet. You are taking a higher risk, and that's why I don't do it too often. But there is, once in a while, you find good companies that, wow, you see the potential, and therefore you invest in them, and that's where the safe comes in, and then gets converted over. Another term is convertible notes. It's another one that shares of, you're buying a convertible note that turns, again, like I was saying, to a investment. So we talked about SPAC already, so I'm not going to go into SPAC. Again, that's the merger of a company that's already public, and that's all it does is it sits there. It's not really, it's almost like a stable coin for those of us who are in cryptocurrency. Any partner. So I put a company that's in pre-IPO that's trying to launch faster. Regulation C or Reg C or Reg A, Reg D is what we're going to talk about next. Regulation C, that's for crowdfunding or CF, you'll see. And the majority of the investments in pre-IPO are CF rating, which sets limitation on your income. So I'm going to talk about that in relation to Reg A, excuse me. D is basically accredited investor, or they just say the word accredited investor. Don't worry about that. If you're an accredited investor, no big deal. Majority of sites that you're on, you wouldn't be able to sign up anyway if you're not an accredited investor. So, and also that what's available to give you access to. That's the big difference. So Reg C is very important. Reg C is based on your current income. So for those who are crying broke, this is where that $2,200, $2,500 comes into play. The minimum amount of what you put in when actually there's in the sites, you got to put your income information. And actually, I had that open on one of my side engine sites. And what it tells you is this: based on your income, or what incomes you coming to you per se, you give a summary. Now, the problem for some of us, when they actually buy what your asset is, and that's where Reg A plus comes in, which is it's for what A stands for. I think it's not, it doesn't mean accredited investor, it's just a different term. Just type it in. Because Reg A gives you more flexibility than Reg C. Actually, it just sort of question, how much am I allowed to invest in? So there's a graph that actually helps you, and you just move that annual income that you're making. That's where Reg C. So Reg C just focuses more on your physical income that you make. And it has those levels of companies that you'll see access to. Again, it's automatically based on that. Because trust me, you can't BS and lie. Here's why: because when you see $10,000, $5,000, you don't have that. Guess what? You don't have it. You can't invest in it. So stop. Don't play yourself. Now, there's a benefit that's on Reg A, which is what I love, and also I'll come back about timing, which is important, because Reg C, which is CF fundings rounds, those companies have about a 3-month time horizon, and there's also a cap, regulation cap of how much they are able to accumulate in pre-IPO funding rounds. Reg A has a broader range, which is very good, and the laws changed just 2021, which is March 15, and I have a whole video. I think it's private, but to those of you who are stuck in this or accredited investor, the laws changed March 15, 2021. I did a deep, and I'm going to release that video, and I was hoping to get it. I haven't looked at it where it is. It might be already uploaded my YouTube, but I know I needed to edit it. That's probably why I didn't release it. Why that's very important for you in relation to Reg A, because both Reg C and Reg A, it got affected by this new law regulation that changed. But do you know that's the same time frame, of course, where COVID is? Whether or not we're going to recover from COVID, we're going to go get back to normal, which 3 years later, we still haven't gone back to normal, right? In this case, it's still happening now. So Reg A broaden the capacity how much people can invest, and it's not based on your income. So you're saying you're broke as can be. Well, do you have a credit card? Do you have something of value to sell? Your damn cell phone, if you want, which I wouldn't recommend, because you need that cell phone to do your trade investments, which I don't recommend doing on a phone if you are a beginner. Right? For anything in business, you don't use a cell phone because there's some things you may not see or able to see full scale on a big computer screen. That's a tip for you. So whether or not I have a tablet, whether or not I have a book, whatever you have, sell your clothes if you have to. So Reg A asks you, what is your net worth, which is what I'm kind of alluding to. And so to help you, this is a very important thing, folks. When you think about your net worth in relation to Reg A, because Reg A, there's not often companies that give you Reg A access of funding. Boxable went from a CF funding from a different platform to, and actually this platform right now, this round right now, they have, which we're talking about, they're on CF, which 5 million limitations there, and that's one of the sense of urgency. They're about to close the round before they even open it. Done on purpose because Boxable does some crazy stuff. Reg A Plus has a broader scope, not related to your income, but your overall net worth. I have a monitor. I have several computers in my office. Well, if I had to liquidate, which is the key word, if I had to liquidate all my assets that I have, not someone else's asset, of course, my assets, how much money will that be worth? So when you put in your information in these platforms, and that's what's key, because that's what opens the doors to what you could see, think about that. So your credit lines, how many credit cards do you have? So you add these, and I did that to someone recently. I helped them. You have to broaden your thinking about, except for your house, by the way. Your house, anybody who has a house is going to blow up their net worth, so that's why they don't include your house if you own a house. But maybe if it's an investment property, not the one that you're living in, that probably could consider. Again, I'm not here to give financial advice, but look into that. But as a business person or as somebody who's just a regular income person, you have something that you could sell. Is it your car? So if you had to sell it, how much would that be worth? So you add those up. I had to really think about it because I have a lot of different investments and assets. And actually, my assets the last few years with crypto has changed. So I haven't fully updated all my platforms yet. That will open the doors for you in the sense of seeing better companies, better investments in the Reg A area of investments. And every company has their criteria. Again, I wish I could show you my screen because you'll see the details of that investment that will let you know that Reg A, Reg C, Reg D, this and that. Again, if you're not a credit investor, you will not be able to see it. There's a platform, they give me a bunch of crap. So it's a very highly regulated platform because I do have access to it, even though I'm not a regular credit investor. But I know a lot of companies go through that because some of the talk I'm talking about, like the Apples, the Airbnbs, stuff like that, they go to that platform. So that's why I know that in the next couple of years, I got to get to that level, which is important because there's some big deals. Right now, honestly, SpaceX, I want to invest in SpaceX, but I can't. It probably required $500,000 knowing them to invest in them, because I know what space exploration is going to go in the near future. So that's one thing personally for me as a goal to achieve in the next few years to get to that level of credit to invest in so I could get access to see these investments. It's important. If you were prior to 2017, you would not be able to get to see Airbnb. Airbnb was a big deal that just like SpaceX is, it's only available for accredited investors, or private brokers, this and that. But again, you will know about private brokers if you wasn't in the level of accredited investing in the beginning. So keep that in mind. So these criteria, it's important to set them properly because it changes the game for you. Because now you can combine what your net worth is with your income and all the assets that you have to see bigger investments. But also, it opens the door and broadens your limitation. So I don't talk about my income too much and share publicly, but my first year, I maxed out my limits. So a limit, let me explain to you. And I was gonna say what a limit is. You can look that up yourself and see how much is a limit per year. It's a lot, and it also is based on cross platforms. So I don't think the platforms get connected per se, but they do, and they are able to see because of regulation that X, Y, and Z is investing in another platform. Because again, there's over 30 platforms that I keep. I don't keep an eye on, but I know about. Um, Five of them I use a lot. Um, I dabble about 15 of them, but five of them is really where most of my investments are in. So all that stuff, when it comes to Reg A, it runs how many companies you can invest in per year. And per year is not per calendar year. Per year is when you make your first investment and towards that next year, following year of that date that you invested. So if you had done a lot of investments over six figures per se, then again it varies for everybody because of your net worth. See that? And that's to Reg A. And that determines your cap. And because of regulation, that's why there's a cap on that. And that's what carries you over. And my ass had to wait. So that's why I have two accounts. And the one I'm on right now, if I was going to be able to go live with you, is the one I show for training purposes. And I don't do too much investments in it. And then because Start Engine has a bonus thing, which if you want to learn about the bonus, you could actually message me and I could share that to a video because there's some perks of having the bonus shares and benefits to that as well. So hopefully that helps people, and I hope to have you guys understand this whole misnomer about I'm not a credit investor, therefore I can't invest. Yes, you can. So and It's always like the right people that need to be on to hear it cannot hear it. Regulation D or Reg D, um, and also that 2021 March 15 date, it also changed the definition, as I was saying, about what constitutes an accredited investor. The old days, let me find it so I could properly explain it to you guys. Okay, all right. So the amount that you are legally allowed to invest depends on which regulation, like I was saying, the company uses to fundraise. Um, One platform calculates your investment limit for regulation crowdfunding, which is Reg C, often is based on the net worth and income provided upon account opening. That's when you open it in that 12-month cycle, like I said. And it's again, the SEC made it pretty complicated in calculating this number. But if you are curious, for everyone, so I got the right number. So it is $2,500. If you broke it and broke, and you're making excuses, per 12 months is $2,500. So I was correct. If your net worth or income is below $124,000, so again, a broad range. Okay, that's regular any everyday Joe that could invest in pre-IPO. You may legally invest a maximum of 5% of the greater between your less than 124,000 or 5% of that greater number. If your net worth and income are above 124,000, you may legally invest a maximum of 10% of the greater number or up to a maximum of $124,000. Accredited investors can invest as much as they want in Reg C offerings. For Regulation A plus offerings, unaccredited investors can invest up to 10% of income or net worth per year, whichever is greater. Only accredited investors may invest in Regulation D offerings, and they have no limitations. Right from the sites. And all the sites are consistently the same. So there's not one site that's going to say one thing versus another. All right? Hopefully you guys get that. So everybody can invest in pre-IPO without stipulations or regulations of limitations to you. It's based only on your income and and there's different criteria with Reg C and Reg A plus. Trying to find anything else. All right, let me. That's right there too. Let's go look for something else. Any questions about regulation accredited investor? So actually, there is something else I want to say about that. So I'm trying to find the exact number. It's not $1 million anymore, folks. To be an accredited investor, there's a couple of things. Series 7 license you need to have. Oh, here's the word for safe. I was looking for the word safe. Actually, let me go pull up accredited investor for you. I'm going to give you the exact definition so that there is no misunderstanding anymore, folks, about what it means to be an accredited investor. What's an accredited investor? Here goes the definition. Oh, perfect timing, Nezel. Just the man I need to say. Listen, I don't know how much you've been listening, if you've been plugging in. If you are listening, you're here, I will repeat it for you because I know you're a good brother and I'm trying to help you understand that it's not me talking out my ass, not me making things up. I'm reading from the platforms. They're all consistently the same, and they're telling you what an accredited investor is. And again, let me say it again in case you wasn't there. If you do not know if you qualify, I hope you have $2,500 for a 12-month cycle is the minimum. I went over two companies, one called Legion, that was basically $40 to be accurate, $39.60. If you that broke, and I'm saying you directly, I'm just messing with you and people. If you that broke, you say you broke it and broke. I hope you're not broken than $10. Is another platform. I'm actually in Southern. It's a Picasso company, that painting company. If you're into painting, you want to invest in painting. That's the lowest I've ever seen in 4 years in all the platforms I've been. $10. And that's $10 if you can't accumulate that in 12 months per your first investment. Otherwise, you have a limitation up to $2,500 per year of your cycle of when you make your first investment. to spend. So understand that being able to qualify is not about being rich, it's about different types of income. So Reg C limits you based on just your income and how much money, $124,000 or less is Reg C. And those companies will be made available for you to see. Reg A is broader, and it means that anything. If you can sell your mama's drawers, the t-shirt up your back, your fake hair, you shave your hair like women shave, sell their hair, or something you're selling that you could take and purchase, well, you could cash it out and get a value for it. If you and seriously, if you could liquidate anything that you have at home that's yours, of course, and sell it right now if you needed money, that's what's called liquidation. That is what you combine together. Even credit cards, whatever your line of credit card is, add that to your net worth to determine what you will submit and put in as your net worth for investing. And what that does is that Reg A gives you access to more companies based on that net worth, except for your house. You cannot count your house as part of your network because that'll blow up the numbers for investing. Hopefully you got that. I don't know if you're on. See that you have come on TikTok, but so hopefully you see that. Let me break down, which is another important thing people always, and this is why people get stuck on that's preventing them from being successful in starting to invest, and is what is an accredited investor? Again, the laws change again as of March 15. Okay, good. I'm glad. This is for you, bro. I'm here for you, especially for you, because I know we talked about this before. Definition of what is accredited investor, which is what everybody knows. Another term they call it is Regulation D, which is for accredited investors. To be an accredited investor, the laws change the terms. Accredited investors are wealthy people. Okay, that's good. Typically make over $200,000 per year. Doesn't have to be $1 million. $200,000 per year, not per month, per year in income, or $300,000 jointly with your spouse, or I will say significant other. It doesn't say legally, but I'm saying with all these laws change, significant other, whatever, would count as a combined income of $200,000 or have over $1 million in assets. So that's what if you have a bunch of houses, that's worth over $1 million, on average 10 houses, you considered an accredited investor. Or if you make $200,000 a year, you are for consecutive years, so at least 2 years, you are considered now an accredited investor. It's no longer the limitation where you just have to be a millionaire, you make $1 million. Even in the definition now, and it's been changed, like I said, it is only if you have a net asset, all your assets combined together, that is over $1 million is considered an accredited investor. There's also other definition for if you are a Series 7, I think 6, 7. Where is it? Let me see. There's definitions you can actually search the glossary. There's jargon words you can pull up. Okay, to move on. Let me go type because I want you to really understand this. Accredited. Because again, it doesn't also mean income. It means that you have the Series 6 and 7 license. I'm trying to find this, what that definition is. And then also there's two types. I just saw there's a rule called 506C and then the 506B. I just saw that. So this is a new exemption released by the SEC on September 23rd of 2013. Like rules 506C, startups using this exemption can raise an unlimited amount of capital, which is what it's for them and their purpose. But I'm trying to see about this series. I have the notes somewhere. Apologize for that. Because you guys need to understand this. All right, we're going to learn. Again, live and learn. You're not a person that I want to help. Regulation C, which you qualify for, if you make less than $124,000, Assuming yes. And you could actually per year maximum you can invest if you're broken and broke is $2,500 per calendar year of when you make your first investment. I gotta repeat that again for y'all. And if you're broken and broke, say I don't have money to scratch, I hope you have $10 at least, because the smallest amount of investment I've seen is $10 minimum. The previous to that it was $40, which was a Legion company that does movies. And some famous people like William Shatner is in there. So yes, you can. You don't have to be wealthy. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You don't have to have thousands of dollars. You can invest. The average company is $100 to $250 to invest in, and it's based on when you put so this $2,500. It means that if you don't have a dime to your damn name, if you have a credit card, if you have somewhere you could borrow money to, or to a bank account, upload, and that is yours, can't be somebody else's, of course, because it has to go to your account to be legally yours, as they said for regulation, SEC regulation. Then the maximum you could invest per year in a 12 calendar day month cycle is $2,500. So right now, Boxer was about $1,000 per minimum investment. Even though you broken and broke or whatever people want to call themselves broke, defined broke is a temporary state of mind. You could in a year cycle borrow, save, sell, whatever, up to $1,000 just to make the move. I think $10 to $20 extra because you have to pay for the fees from Start Engine. So there's no more excuses for why we cannot invest. There's no limitation on you. There's limitation on your income, and if you don't have an income, it's $2,500 for everybody, regardless. If you have some income, regulation A plus gives you a broader scope of whatever you consider an asset that can tangible asset that could be sold. I'm stressing this again several times for folks because the rules and the laws as of March 15, 2021 changed again. And it's important the time frame again, because while people are crying broke, while people are taking their government subsidy checks that they got during COVID and buying TVs, taking vacation breaks, I in 2020 I didn't get one. I'm not trying to say I'm a recipient. It doesn't matter if you are. It's about mindset. I was investing in myself, in my family. I had over. So actually, I've invested so many times. First round several years ago was only $500. Now, on average, it's $1,000 that they have to invest in Boxable. Now, not that I'm telling you to go invest in Boxable per se. I'm just giving that stuff. That has been the highest investments I've made, and I've invested in Boxable. This is the fifth round I've invested in Boxable, and I have a shitload of shares of Boxable because I was so early, and I got thanked as well for being an early visionary in Boxable. So it is possible. And by the way, Boxable was only 14 cents. So a 14 cents investment per share at $500, even if that back then, it's sick. 200, yes, sir. Broken and broke, which I'm not calling nobody broke. If you excuses is broken and broke, they say all you have to have is $2,500 for 1 year in a calendar year that you start investing. It's all that you need to qualify for Reg C. And Reg C is not about a limitation on you, is what they say and define as income based on the type of investments per. So there's a bunch of investments, pre-IPOs, and they're all categorized as Reg C, which is CF, so crowdfunding, but Reg C is what it's called, or A plus. So Reg A plus. And A plus doesn't care about your income. They care about what do you consider an asset. So any one of you guys, anybody, whether or not you have a job, whether or not you have a net worth, it's based on the category. Like, for example, Boxable, when I say $500, was a CF rating investment back in the day. Today, they do majority of Reg A plus. Here's why. Reg A plus has a longer lifespan. It could go for months. Actually, Start Engine, which is an investment, like I said, if you click on my links, my referral links, you can get free shares of Start Engine. And there's a reason why you may want to do that. It's up to you because they have bonuses and that. So we'll talk about that. later on, but there's a it's basically a strategy for why if you care to invest in Start Engine. But I tell you that also because Start Engine has been A plus, and they go for months, and they've gone to almost a year in leaving their round open, and that's because regulation A plus. When these companies are under regulation A plus, you have access to see it, and it tells you based on your income level, and that's why you see it. And you set your preferences. Your preferences. I'm heavy into technology. I haven't. I just realized I haven't put added my preference of AI companies, and I see a few of them. This and that. Some crypto stuff, which if I have time, I'll talk about. But I do get to see those things, and I could invest in it because I see the criteria. So I'm ready to move on. Everybody got it. Everybody can invest. The laws is not me making it up. It's every platform you go to. There's a definition. There's a glossary, and you'll see the definition so that you could invest. Okay, so I don't want to hear no much people saying, "Oh, I can invest." Believe in yourself, and get the education, research your companies, and see basic stuff. It's always up front. Again, if I could have shared my screen, it tells you right there if it's a C plus, and also based on the income, because you can see how much the company's minimum investment that's will be the Reg C, which is $5 million or $50 million, because the rules changed. They increased the minimum and maximum. You don't go to get registered per se. It's free. You just join the platform. That's why I have my links for on my bio to Start Engine, because you get referrals if you sign up, and you get some shares from your first investment of um, any company within the Start Engine. So Start Engine is just a platform, just like a incubator, you could say, of where people go in to raise capital for their company. So all you just do is sign up. Important things. Hello, your type of investments that you like. You put in your because if you don't fill this information out, folks, you will not see nothing. You'll see some stuff, but there'll be things that they're promoting. So it's important for you to fill in your income status, what they're actually for, because that's what opens the doors for what you could see. There's other platforms. I have five major platforms I use on a regular basis to look at. I'm looking at another one right now for land, because I want to invest in passive income with land purchase, which is ridiculous. So I'm researching that right now. Um, and actually, I'm going to talk about another real estate platform that is also going to go public, which let me move on because I know I spent a lot of time on this, because this is the key part I wanted you guys to hear. But I want to move on to the next stuff I want to talk about. All right. So again, safe, SPAC, Reg C, Reg D, Reg A. Safes, again, um, is more riskier because those companies are not established. Every company that's on a pre-IPO, again, different from Kickstarter, different from Indiegogo, these are companies that's established, well established, that's either going to go public or looking to raise more capital to grow the company. And the goal when you're doing pre-IPO is for them to go public, where you can get, greater shares, dividends, investments into it. Okay. Yes, sir. You know, but use my referral link and you get some shares of the company as well. Start Engine from your first investment just by purchasing your first investment. So again, it's in my bio and it's free shares. And if you register my YouTube channel, I actually have email blast or invest.frederickcapital.com, and you could actually go there and click on those links and you get some shares, because just by purchasing whatever you want to invest. Again, smallest thing is $10. The minimum is 40. I've seen on average. Well, not average. Say the average is 100 to 250. All right, let's move on. So let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about Boxable. So I'm gonna talk about three companies and drop some nuggets as well. So Boxable is a unique company because it's changing the game of how housing is done, and we all know what's going on with Maui, Hawaii, and the stuff that's impacting how fast, and there's a lot of BS. So people don't understand eminent domain. I'm seeing some videos out there now talking about people being offered to sell the property per se, and it's again comes to housing is getting tighter and modular. And the value of a property, most of us these days, I was telling someone, cannot even afford to buy a house because it's so expensive. There's not enough land space. What Boxable has done is change the game. Why I'm a big visionary of Boxable several years ago is because I knew and saw the problem with California burning down all the time, fires, disasters. Our weather has changed so much. Well, you cannot build a house fast enough right now. Boxer will change the game by making it within an hour. It's not no BS, not no crap. Fireproof over 40 patents back then. They just bought another company just from reading an article this past week, and they're closing the round they have right now, which is another reason why I wanted to do this, because it is $1,000 minimum. Again, I'm not here to tell you to go buy, but to educate you how valuable it is, especially how housing is changed. But most important for me as a visionary, that the game of the standard of how houses are going to build in the future is going to be based on Boxable. If you go to my channel, my site, I have a hour and a half. I went to a deep dive 3 years ago of why, because I think Beyonce, some wealthy people invested into, um, you know, pre-IPO companies actually like the Uber and Lyft. Today you probably hear Beyonce stories now, and became wealthier than wealth because they were visionaries ahead of the game. And that's what's possible. Not guaranteed, but that's what's possible. Today, and actually one of my things that tips and I'm going to share with you is that there's competitors now. Several of them about duplicating what Boxable has done. The biggest flattery of success is copycats. We all know about on TikTok, YouTube. There's a lot of that. So Boxable is a company based in Vegas, and what the father and son team, father's an engineer, son's a devil. He's also a crypto miner, investing in cryptocurrency. So the father had vision for years of just redesigning the cost, and actually had a video. I actually was going to work one day, and I had this recording and planned to put it up. Last time I had uploaded on TikTok, and my files got deleted. If you ever seen the highways, they ship in a house that's already prefab, huge ass thing, taking 2 lanes sometimes, have to have security, have to have cars in front, have to have cars in the back, a lot of safety things, that protocol. You got to plan the route. But Boxable, you fold the damn house. And if you go to Boxable's website, or even from Side Engine, you see Tesla, which is have just a battery charging thing. They just which added an extra $10,000 to the cost of the Boxable um, as a partnership. They could hitch a just regular hitch and put a Boxable on top of it and ship it, and you take it with you. It's like you shipping and hauling some properties, bicycle, whatever. That's how small and compact, because of the patents they have, that it allows the house core prefab bed, bed frame, TV, fireplace, kitchen, it's all done, and it folds up. You have to see the video to understand, and it's not a gimmick, folks. It's gonna change the game of delivery. One of the competitors I was evaluating last week, they claim some of the same stuff, but they don't have. Boxable has a government patent. I'm sorry, government backed. They actually purchased a couple of actual Boxables for the military. When they have disaster relief, FEMA will be using a Boxable. It's all said and done. It's all on the website. It's all on Side Engine. There's so many things with the patents they have on the stuff: mold proof, water damage proof, hurricane proof, earthquake proof. And there's different criteria. Can I just say, we want extra layers of protection for you to ship your Boxables, and they consider ADUs, additional dwelling units. So that allows anybody who has a house, that's theirs, of course, to take their garage or add on top, or open space in the backyard or wherever you have, and put one, because Massachusetts, which is where I live, gives you the rights. That law has been changed several years ago. Everybody, and especially down deep south, have the means. And basically, you just need foundation if you want to put foundation, which is highly recommended. Plumbing if you need to get that done ahead of time, and they just come within an hour, and you have a Boxable up and running. There's a backload of demand for it. They are raising capital to build their third manufacturing plant. It's a big deal, and it's going to change the landscape of how housing is built in the future. China is copying still in the concept with crap. There's a third company that's coming in here in the U.S. to compete. There's some other competitions in the space of trailers, containers that people are converting over to be tiny houses. So they kind of classify it originally. They're not far from a tiny house in the space of tiny housing. They're not a tiny house, full scale. Now they're level of doing a scaling. They've done a demo this past summer in Vegas for the duplex units, casitas they call them, and as they're adding more color themes, stuff like that, customizable. And then on top of it, one of the biggest things they started working on now with this new round and bigger manufacturing, which holds like several football fields size stadiums inside of it, is the skyscraper style. One of the competitors, they're talking about they could do 5 storage, and that's it. Boxable doesn't put a limitation. It's based on how high the company who's building the development wants the building to be. Again, stuff locks into place, patents. It's a big deal. Check it out. This is one of the only companies that publicly promote as well. Again, no compensation for it because I believe the bigger vision of what they're going to do, and it's going to be ridiculous. So that company started out as 14 cents company with a $46 million valuation. I'm having the last laugh because those who didn't see and lack the vision is why, again, I offer private consultation one-on-ones as well. It's at 80 cents right now, getting ready to see what it does next for the next close of round. But also have a big partner called DR Horton, which is a major company internationally that basically does a lot of developments for housing. And yes, they have the issues there, but they saw the value. And this past year, they partnered with Boxable. There's going to be a lot more partnerships coming about as more and more companies get into the space. This one company that I'm going to share with you guys is thinking that they could compete, but they're competing in a higher class level. Their cost is about $90,000 for one design. The second design is $125,000. Boxables on average was $50,000. They're now $60,000 because of the Tesla charging station they put on top on the side. They could do solar panels, all that stuff. Now, on average, $60,000 is what a box will cost you to put, and then you can stack them up, snap, put different layers, full scale housing style, several bedrooms. You can use that office space and stuff like that, and it is portable. You can put it into a trailer. You don't even need a 18-wheeler to drag it and all this equipment. It's very flexible. It changes the game. So that's Boxable in a nutshell. So one of the things I wanted to do, I'm going to go to the website directly now. So Boxable is closing the round. So that's important for you to know that because every time a round closes, it can be a disadvantage to you because if you are serious about investing into a company, you should make the investment, especially if you have the funds. So you could reserve now because if you're an investor already previously, you get access to know when they are. Oh, I called this, and it happened. They already have a waiting list. Too late. So there's a reason why I say they have a bonus thing in Start Engine, so you could bump you from the being off the waiting list because if this is what I was on my, if you see an investment you like, you better jump on it because Boxable. So this is the stuff that Boxable does because Boxable has a lot of power and pull. So this round is an A plus, but they put the limit cap at $5 million. Now again, they do the private reservation for those investors that want to buy it again. They didn't publicize this, and this is why I was trying to have a sense of urgency to let you guys know about this company. What they did is that they put a $5 million cap on it, and privately they're at $2.9 million. So even if they go public, and let the rest of the masses know about it. They could search it. And if you don't know, you're not going to know to search for Boston because it doesn't show up on the regular, whatever. Even if you have a criteria, you probably will not show because it's on a private reservation until they make it open to the public. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So when I saw it was at $2 million, and I said, "Yo, this is going to reach its cap," and it has. So it's showing it's not up to date properly, but it says the reserve was 2.9 million. But on top of it, says join the waiting list. So that means that they actually have exceeded their maximum allowed for that round that they just did. So they will probably do another round again. It's a big technology company, so therefore they are capital intensive. Um, wow. So in that private round, folks, you guys could see this if you registered. 1,136 people have invested. I was supposed to reinvest again, so now it's kind of I have the bonus, so I could probably get in if I wanted to, but I have some other companies because I battle back and forth between crypto. Actually, I wanted to buy some crypto this weekend, but I couldn't because I have some deadlines of companies that I have to invest in before the round closes this coming week, actually next Friday. So I have to spend some money, some different companies. Again, I have shitloads of boxes, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm just greedy for wanting more. But this round is done, folks. We go out to try to do a reserve right now. As my friend, I helped him a few weeks ago. So if you're watching, smart move. So Barcelona round is done. Because if you are signing up now and trying to buy a box for $1,000, you're going to be a waiting list. Most likely, so once in a while they do, but again, they give preferable treatment to those who actually have the bonuses. And the bonuses is something special about the bonuses, so that's why I'm not telling you up front. So let me move on because that's the point I was trying to make to you guys. When you see an investment, if you have the funds and it's within the range, again, it moves fast. And this was a private round, it moved very fast. So let's talk about Jet Token. So Jet Token actually was one again. All these companies that I'm sharing with you is 3+ years ago that I invested in them. Again, because it takes a long time. Slowly the success is coming about. Let me have some notes I have for Lyft. So Lyft Token, well, became a big deal. And if you don't know what Lyft is, I'm sorry, Lyft Token. They technically changed the name because it went to a SPAC partner up. They are a flying drone company, and the revolution of the aviation industry is changing, folks. And what Lyft Token is doing is making it short-term lift and drop, basically 15 to 20 minutes because of the battery life right now, take off and landing. So in the future, for companies that are actually trying to no, not prop companies, but individuals like me. I have a car sharing business or something like that. I'm seeing myself buying in the future amongst other investments to expand my business to provide, just like the car sharing, I'm sorry, the Uber and Lyft, it's just transportation over the skies. So the game of drones is changing and going to make autonomous flying vehicles the thing of the future, folks. So it's a big deal, and I've been watching that space for a number of years. I own a lot, for full disclosure, a lot of companies in that space. Um, they, in the last few months, they announced, which is where the crypto part comes in, folks, and AI. They were going to basically merge with another company that's in the AI space. I'm like, oh damn! And I couldn't tell you. Well, I could have, but I don't share stuff like that publicly because I don't do have people trying to buy in Russian because you hear somebody say so. That's why I don't do that with crypto as well. As if that's the reason why you should go buy. I don't do stuff like that. But what was unique is that, again, my vision for why I started the company because I saw before COVID the privacy needs and desires because something like that I'll probably do in the future to fly and stop wasting time and just all this pet down and nonsense in the airports now. People get frustrated, delays, all that stuff. So you're flying direct. So private jets is one of the things I invested in. So Jet AI was just providing private jets, on a membership subscription-based platform. Now, in the last few months, what they did is they partnered with another company to do a SPAC deal, and they are focused on AI technology to create self-flying, which if you read the website for Jet.ai, the description is ridiculous. And it's basically the plane's gonna fly itself. And previously I did a video on TikTok where you saw that Jet Token, or actually the government, excuse me, had done a test that flew a no man on or in the cockpit flying by itself, and it was for several hours, breaking records. And here it is, months later, I saw Jet AI, which I was already fully invested for several years, partner up with a company to provide that capability in the future. Powerful. They went public. Now I lost shares because the SPAC deal that they did actually took some of my shares away and split it with the other company, which allowed it to move. And again, I already explained what SPACs are, to go public faster. So that's a win. Actually, I was just looking at the price again. I bought that company 3 years ago at 30 cents. I looked up, I think 30 or 33 cents. When they were getting ready to close around a few months ago, it was $1.87. That was a win. The SPAC, when it went public, was about $10 to $11. Again, I lost some shares. Thought it was a big win for me. And anytime your company that you invested in goes public, it's a success, because going public is like having a championship ring, for basketball or whatever, pennants for baseball, football, whatever, because that is the goal for your company after investing in the long term, to see it go public. And again, these are early phases, companies' vision that not everybody, will see. I talked about Nightscope, that's already went public. I'm gonna drop another nugget. There's a company called Monogram, which basically it's a robotic arm, that does a lot of stuff. I saw that vision for that. That I was just looking at that. I went public a few months ago, early in the year. Um, what else? There's some other companies on post. I got some that got sold out, and I got my check for being an early investor as well. It was actually, and I saw another platform where they have another companies doing the same thing, because it was the what are those things when you cut the grass. Um, so green company that does that's well known, but basically it was a fully electric, um, you know, grass cutter thing, whatever they call that thing. Um, Investing in that, within 2 years they bought out the company and cashed me out. So I still want to invest in those things because that's going to be a big thing for the future. So it's a big deal. So here's the note I was trying to show you guys previously. I took a screenshot. They had an announcement Boxable had gone over $2 million in reservations. Now on the website it's 2.9 million. When I was with my friend, when I was helping them, it was 2.5 million. They had already had investors in, and now they're at 2.9 million 2 weeks later. So, and then it's already all waitlisted, because that means that they already reached over the 5 million mark. So it's incredible what Possible is doing. It's just going to keep getting better and better. Um, so, and let me tell you this a little nugget. So the screenshot I had says that they had 958 investors. Now, if you're an investor and you bought one time, I'm not talking about last time, I'm talking about every round it resets the clock. 958 investors. This is showing that currently updated. Again, they haven't fully showed it over 5 million, which is why they're showing the waiting list posted. They have right now showing that 1,136 people have invested in Boxable. That's former investors like myself, and I didn't even get to, because I was, been doing so many other things right now. That invested, and what's the key nugget I'm trying to let you know? Even if once I invest one time in this round, for example, I could invest many more times again. So even though some people look, and I don't look, and I tell people as a tip, do not look at based on what the numbers of people invest or don't invest. You have to make those decisions for yourself, because if you see the value, and then with A+ ratings, people like me who's seasoned, who's time to sometimes wait till the last, because we know it's a long time. So I'm dabbling in other things, this and that, because I know this will take a long time before it close. Boxwell, you don't want to mess with Boxwell, because Boxwell will close fast on your ass. And they sure did. So that's a little nugget for you. And watch your investment, folks, because the round doesn't close until it's fully closed. All right. Um, for people, all right. So Jet AI. is a SPAC deal. It's been a disappointing SPAC deal because I was trying because there was a lot of things that happened. There was so much movement going on because they would have several. They almost had three different stock names. There was OXAC, which was at the $11 range, and then there was the JTAI that was now they allowed this week to go public. So it was weird the way they did that. I've never seen that done before because I believe truly in this company. So it's going to drop. So I'm going to wait and buy some more shares in the future because of what it's going to do. And again, there's so many reasons why companies go public early or delay. If you remember Facebook, Meta, they took a long time based on the size of the economy before they actually decided to go public, and they went backwards, and now they're over $100+ today. Let me go back to my notes and see where we are. And one of the things, like I said, if you're paying attention, the aviation industry is changing. The word you need to listen to and understand is called EVTOL, and I'm gonna make sure I explain to you what that stands for, so I don't mess it up. Let me see if I find it. So basically, it's the new definition of what aviation is going to be, and that's the short-term takeoff and landing company. Because they're called drones more or less, but and it's basically there's a lot of new technology based on this type of innovation. Looking on too many things. Let me see. Actually, let me just get the definition. Because you're going to see this word a lot in the future. So that's why I want to make sure you guys understand it. Okay, let me type C. So there's a lot of drone-based companies. One of my other investments I'm getting, it's not a drone, but it's a kind of combination of, takeoff and landing compartment company. And I'm actually looking at investing in it this week. It's on my radar. I got 5 days to invest in it before the round closes. Put it down. Let me see. If I'm correct, electronic vehicle takeoff and land is what that acronym stands for. And again, that's what they call. And there's a lot of regulation already in place for defining what vehicles can do that or cannot do that in the space. So um, this is going to be, like I said, a big deal for those of us who's invested in the new era of flight, short flights, distance flights is what that is going to be about. And that's Jet Token. Any questions? Like I said, feel free to ask me. It's not coming up on my information because they just went public as well. Usually they show you the whole history of companies that on the platform when they went public. Trying to go fast, so that's why I can't see it and read it fast enough. Another term you should pay attention to, and this is not a crypto, but they call it for the Jet AI. Is going to be using a language called Charter GPT. So we know about Chat GPT, but Charter GPT app, which allows booking of your flights instantly by just talking to it, and some other cool technology that's going to be part of that. So keep an eye on that company. It's publicly traded. You can't buy it in pre-IPO anymore. Again, it closed out $1.87 with a SPAC deal to basically $5 to $11 when it first launched because of those early investors cashing out as well. All right, let me get back to my presentation. So, like I said, I'm going to share two big breaking news. Boxable has a competitor, and again, not too many people. This is in a pre-IPO space in a different platform that's not Start Engine, and that is basically a company called Zenny Home. Zenny Home, and another important thing, which is for those of you who are competing or looking to buy crazy $5,000 for a Apple Vision Pro glasses, this next company I'm gonna tell you is very important because that company, and again, I'm gonna blast that email, but I'll let you know since there's only two people in there right now watching or other people listening. There's a company called Immerse on a different platform. Again, if you register, I'll send you the link. But it's on a platform called Refunder. And what it does is basically, again, that's another play I had 3 years ago that's getting ready to close their round and actually considering buying some more shares of that company. That's going to be a big deal because it's more cost effective glasses, not the $5,000 Apple's charged for theirs. And also, folks, for the space of metaverse, which is 5 years play, whatever play long term, but the play of work from home remote, that is their focus. And again, another nugget, if you haven't read and researched this company, which you probably don't know about, Immerse is already was in talks and have other partnerships with Facebook, Meta. So Meta is going to give most likely, again, speculation, Apple a run for their money because they have a cost-effective glasses. They have two versions. They call them one advisor and something else they had for you to augment reality and virtual reality together. So two different type of glasses that they have developed, and they're gonna basically give Apple a run for their money, folks. It's gonna be a big deal. So they're getting ready to close their round. They're actually doing a last round right now. And I've already known this for the last 2 weeks almost. So you better pay attention if you are serious about investing or looking to do some research in this company. They are solid. And again, the whole aspect is solid, but it's going to be to a SPAC deal, which, we'll see how that goes about, but pay attention to that. Zenny Homes, again, it's Boxable. There's several other companies I own. And I didn't mention this, but I'll drop this other nugget. So my early stages of investing in pre-IPOs was because I was with my friend. She was looking at 3D printing houses, and I was looking at tiny houses. So, and we came about Boxable and saw it's the better of both worlds, actually, because a 3D printed house, which is a real deal. I have several companies I'm investing in as 3D printed houses. It takes about a whole day. It's a lot of equipment, a lot of cement that's coming and being shipped to build that. And it's basically like a 3D printer. If you've seen one, goes around, it's already prefab the layout of the housing, and that thing just cranks out mud and formates the house for you. It's legit. It's a big thing. YouTube has a lot of videos about those things. That's where I started from. And so since then, 3 years later, it ain't about no little tiny house anymore. It's a big deal now. More and more companies. There's some big dogs. That's Zenny Home, for example. It's trying to climb the charts, trying to call themselves more sophisticated, high end. At least I call it high end from what I saw. It's cool, but it's basically a trailer container that's being used and refab to fit and try to claim to be competitive to Boxable. They don't talk about too much patents. They put that stuff on the site, but as a pre-IPO investment, it's also cheaper too, $250 to invest in that. So there's some pros and cons about that. But you could do your due diligence. Again, I do offer consultations as well for pre-IPO investments, 30-minute sessions. And again, one of the things I was doing, if you sign up and subscribe to my channel, for those who ask the best questions on TikTok, and as well as, again, so a lot of them got messed up, so I apologize for anybody on YouTube because I don't even know if I'm still on YouTube or I think I got disconnected because my YouTube is still here. So fortunately, a lot of them got messed up, but again, I'll be there tomorrow at 4 p.m. Join me. It's getting late, but that's some of the nuggets you should be aware of for those who want to invest in pre-IPO because Immerse is going to be big in the gaming field, and that's one of the markets they're actually targeting for their glasses. So keep that in mind as well. Let me see what else. There was another nugget I want to show you, but I can't share because of the I can't share my screen. So we'll see if I can do that tomorrow. On starting, there was a comparison I was going to make because For example, if you guys watch, what was it, Avatar 2? And I had again a TikTok thing, and I never got a chance to release it, and I lost my videos on TikTok that I was in draft mode. Avatar 2, if you're going to be a visionary to see opportunities, if you watch Avatar 2, I don't watch and go to the movie for the same reason people do, to be entertained. I go to learn and see opportunities, technologies. Because if you watch Avatar 2, you'll see that exoskeletons they're using. You see that, I think it's in Massachusetts, or it is Massachusetts. Those robots, the one, the yellow, they were in the movie, they were welding buildings, whereas the so-called enemy in Avatar came back to the planet per se, and they were just creating their foundation of their home front stations. You didn't see, you saw human beings helping, but there was not welding. Hence, like I said in the beginning of this video, of this presentation, you know, Google is doing it, AI, getting ready to develop an AI life coach. In the future, folks, AI technology will evolve and just change the landscape of work in the workforce. So in Avatar 2, you see the same thing, you know. And in past Mission Impossible movies, that was something I was trying to do for a training. You There was a scene, a fight scene, for example, and I never forget it. That, you know, what's the name? Thing went to into fighting this bad guy, and they were in a car manufacturing plant. It was a clean car, all white, clean, nothing, quiet, and the machines were running, but it was all automated, and it stuck with me. This is like 10, 15 years ago. Here we are today with AI technology, and you see in Avatar 2 and other movies about the future of work, the workforce. And that's why Monogram is one of the companies that just went public a few months ago. I invest in this kind of companies. Jet Propulsion Technology, I invest in this kind of technology because I understand this stuff and where the future of these innovations are going. And this is where you come, like I said, you know, the mindset of, you know, what is it and what is it not? Because you have to stretch your vision. And yeah, it's a long term. It takes longer because it's technology and stuff has to change, laws, regulations. Like I said, even Boxable, which is doing big things, was able to get the ADU classification of your housing to be able to put additional dwelling unit in the back of your house. Now, it's depending on the state where you are. Texas is already doing it. Florida is already doing it. Some parts of the country is more receptive to other ones. Massachusetts is always ain't all about change. So even though they have the ADU capability, all this regulation, you know, limiting jobs because you don't need a lot of people to build a house now. It's a game changer. Nightscope, same thing. You don't need a lot of security people, you know, for technology like that to surveillance 24/7, you know, based on a subscription based level. What I benefits, what I employees, what I 401k plans, this and that. So one of the big things, like I said about one of the quotes I said, and I'll start wrapping up, is that you could complain all you want about, yes, the change in the workforce, or you could participate in the change in these pre-IPO spaces and position yourself and your family for generational wealth because it's about mindset. So that quote I said in the beginning, if you missed it, is this: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's not. This is where I bring in both ways. I look at that and providing the education because it's the philosophy and the vision that you see that sets the stage for where you could build and create generational wealth to be in the forefront of these companies before they go public and do some other big things with them. Um, Again, I'm a big student of Robert Kiyosaki's ESB&I quadrant. If you know what that is, the E for employees, S for small business, and then the B for passive income, and then there's active income, and then which is that I for investor. So we are invested in pre-IPO to be in that phase of the BNI. So the way I think, the way I invest is based on the BNI quadrant philosophy of having income, just like we are in crypto, passive income, working harder for us to these early phase companies that have tremendous potential to be massively successful in the future. And that's the big deal in the end. Some other nuggets. Told you about Boxwell. remember some other companies as competitors. I'm just dropping some nuggets for those since there's a few people here. Um, Also, if you're going to do more research, tiny houses is one of the keywords you want to look up. Kit homes, I just looked that up. Modular houses is some of the things that kind of be defined as that as well. Um, Lift aircraft, which is another type of, it's not a drone, but it's an actual kind of flying car, you could say, or flying in that space. Jet token is just a private jets. I kind of get confused the two. That's why that's why I was getting confused with that. Looking up the eVTOL is the acronym. What I don't know if I did a TikTok about it, but it's a big deal with Lyft token, and that's still a pre-IPO company you should pay attention to. That's another nugget. Warren Buffett a few weeks ago actually invested in that company indirectly because they had a partnership. Let me see if I can find that. Took a screenshot of that. They Warren Buffett bought another shares in another company that is ordering. It's called Hexa, 100 planes, folks. That company ordered, and this is in the early phases of testing out. Again, short-term takeoff and landing. Basically, that it's kind of like the new taxi, another way to say it, of the future, where you go in, like instead of the airports, it's just a short runway, and you actually basically with your stuff sit. And usually, right now they have one-man seats, and it's autonomous, and it flies you to your destination within 15 minutes of distance. It's because the limitation right now is based on because it's battery powered, drones, uh, we call fan spins, and that's what makes it unique. The flying airspace of flights is changing, folks. You want to pay attention to that. That's a little nugget I'm giving away for you guys who's here. Oh, I had it in my notes. I didn't see it. EVTOL stands for vertical takeoff and landing, like I said before. That's the new term for this industry that's going to change the aviation. I mentioned, if you missed it, about the crypto space, there's a lot of pre-IPOs folks that are combining with cryptocurrency demand. And so there's a lot of gaming as well in crypto space. There's a platform actually that I share for higher class investors that I'm looking at that allows a lot of gaming, a lot of real estate combinations. Realm Metaverse real estate, it was a big deal. It was such a big deal that they actually stopped the pre-IPO round and actually refunded people. I was on the waiting list because didn't miss it, but almost missed it. And I still was enough before the closing round, but I was on the waiting list. And waiting list doesn't guarantee you're going to be in. Well, they canceled the contract and basically refunded people back their money because that was a big deal that angel investors went and said, we want this baby. And keep an eye out because Realm is doing a lot of things in the metaverse, a lot of things in the gaming industry. Digital, buying digital real estate is something I want to do, before the next bull run. And I have to get it done. I have so much stuff I'm investing right now, so I'm very busy and money's tight too. But it's important because these companies, we all know JP Morgan Chase actually has advertisement billboards already set in the metaverse for events, parties. And this stuff is in pre-IPO phases, and there's other companies, creating technology for space of, new types of evolution of blockchain technology. Is really what it is, not just about cryptocurrency, but blockchain side of things, which is the real deal that's more valuable. So keep an eye on that because it's available. So you could take the crypto space of cryptocurrency and invest in those, or you could also be in the early phases of these companies. It's a higher risk, of course, because you know how volatile crypto is, but some of these companies, one technology I invested in a while back is that the ability to custody. Actually, I was late to come live because I changed. I'm heavily into security. I have too much now that I forgot I left my password book at home and my other book that I switched my profile on my computer. All this stuff I did, and and I'm in the process of changing my security. I have a UB key. So all these things I'm doing to secure. I have too much security right now in my house, which prevents me from accessing some YouTube channels, actually all of YouTube right now. So I got to cut down some security in my house, and it's important, you know. So that's why it cost me the delay. So again, I'll be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Sunday. If you want to join me for another round, I'll go over the same stuff again. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but what I promise I will do is take a time in the future to record everything over and put it in my YouTube channel. That way, you guys can have a whole detail of what I was showing you, what I was talking about different things, and seeing investments. And again, it's not cost of anything. Oh, there's one more nugget. Again, that's again in my link. Fundrise is another company that's getting ready to go public. Now, the one thing they've been saying that for a number of years, they haven't done it. But what's different is that they are now becoming a platform like Start Engine and like a refund that I mentioned to allow you to not just buy real estate, which is what I've been doing for the last few years, and I've been testing it. It's solid, it's legit. They've been around for a long time, and they're very conservative, taking their time to go public, and they actually allowing you to. And what? So let me clarify. So basically, again, Massachusetts is crazy with cost of real estate. So for things I'm trying to do in business, and money is limited as well. So a lot of players buying digital. Now, when I say digital, this was the premier, the word of digital real estate versus now in metaverse, you can buy digital real estate. So it's physical real estate that you're not partaking so much in the investment, but you put in shares of your money in to get dividends. So the last few years, I've been getting small dividend checks, but it just proves that anyway. Personally, I'll tell you guys up front, come 2025, my investments in cryptocurrency, it's going to be ridiculous. Part of my plans is land. There's a platform for land development. I'm purchasing shares. I'm planning to research that and do that. Again, like I said, BNI quadrant. I'm spending more of my time and money investing that for that passive income. Fundrise is one of those platforms. Again, if you use my referral link, you could get actual shares. Excuse me, $50 off your first property or whatever that you buy. And I like it because it's commercial. So I'm not a big hi Graham. I'm not a big residential real estate person. I'm more because again, look what's going on right now in Maui. People's lands being still stolen from them. So commercial is the bigger play. Now, bearing what's going to happen if there's going to be a future shutdown. Of course, it's a risk, but overall, buying commercial space to a company where all the headaches is off your hands. Fundrise allows you to partake in some of these projects. So right now, honestly, folks, I own property all over the world. I should say the world, the United States. I believe they only do business in the United States. And I look forward to one day just start flying around to different states. I'm a shareholder of that company. That building you see right there, I'm a shareholder. It's a sweet feeling. You get to see the development, to see the project, to see the results, and there's different levels of type of investments. So there's some aggressive returns, this and that. But it's a cool thing, and I get a dividend check every quarter. So, and the more you invest, of course, the higher the dividend check is. So that's why my play, personally, I'm sharing with you guys that come after the bull run, taking that money, turning over some of that to real estate, and then some other plays I'm looking at real estate diversifying. And there's some highly accredited investor plays that I cannot touch right now that is in real estate. There's a lot of different, just like there's a lot of pre-IPO plan. And let me say for full disclosure, there's a lot of crap too. So I'm heavily focused on technology companies, but there's also a lot of crap in the pre-IPO space because almost everything, somebody, again, feeling good company they see, they're going to invest in it. So again, that's why I say, don't look at just the numbers of who's doing what. You go follow what people do. Make sure you educate yourself, or get a consultation from me or somebody else that you respect and value, that understand the space that you're in, that you're looking to invest in, and do your own due diligence. One thing I personally don't do, I don't waste my time in name dropping of, so and so is in the company. This Zenny home, one of the reasons why they're blowing up is that they haven't done jack. They one of the little nugget, which is stupid. They claim in 2024 of quarter four they're going to be profit mode. and they're talking about doing 5-story stackable housing, like Boxable. I'm calling BS on that. You know, I'll still invest in it. I ain't stupid. I'm an investor. But as far as a turnaround time frame, you haven't done jack. You're still on the first phase of shipping your stuff. And then I know what Boston has done and the amount of money they raised. Their popularity is because they have a lot of big names attached to that company. And it's actually it's a senator that started the company. So that's, you can do whatever you want with that knowledge, information. But again, don't get caught up in who's, because this is average Joes like you and I, or some people, rarely is big time people. Some have already made other investments and made very successful and exited out their company or got bought out, whatever. And that's what an exit is. But I don't get caught up in who's doing what, because, for example, Boxable, these two guys, I didn't know them. I have a lot of investments in pre-IPO. I don't know half the people. Actually, I don't know none of the people. What I do know is the technology that I'm invested in. That's all I care about at the end of the day. Again, if you missed me in the beginning, I said a lot of stuff. Pre-IPO platforms are vetting, or at least they should be vetting the best ones. That's why I only have two my primary platforms I use to invest. Some of them I look at some stuff, but my two platforms is just my two platforms I use all the time. So again, I'm wrapping up. Unless somebody has any questions for me, I'm going to call it a night. Been talking all night. It's 11 o'clock. Um, Keep an eye on Metaverse, which is gone private. It's a metaverse play, crypto play. There's a bunch of cryptocurrencies. Also, little nugget. There's a lot of weed companies now. I ain't saying go smoke weed. I'm not a smoking weed person, but we know what this industry is and where it's going. And I mean, Mastery, there's a bunch of companies left and right. That's dispensary companies. There's a bunch of companies in these two platforms that I talked about that have dispensary companies. One of them, 4 people, I'm dropping nugget for the night. Last one, Chow 420 was one of my first 3 years ago companies I invested in. It. While I was waiting for Barcelona to allow investments, I actually bought was sort of $100. Again, not that expensive, folks. You don't have to be an accredited investor to invest in $100. And I invested in Chow 420. Today they're doing some bigger things. They have 7 different locations. And what's messed up is that, New York is doing dispensaries for drug users to have clean needles. It's an exchange program. They're taking it to the next level. It was the same time frame that I read about Chow. They're doing some other rounds, and it's on a different platform, I think. And if not, it's on SmarTrader. I forget which one it is. And they're also doing the same concept using dispensary kiosks that you just push a number and get your damn weed. Amazing. And I think that's going to blow up big. So I'm watching that company and seeing what they're doing with that technology. They're slow in coming, but being able to allow people to just place this kiosks now and just get your damn weed from, which is amazing. So again, I don't smoke that crap. I'm not here to endorse weed, but listen, we're here to invest and we look at technology that's emerging, and that's what I do. And if you ever want to invest with me or learn how to invest in certain companies, what I look at, my vision behind these insights, go to invest.frederickcapital.com. That's in my bio as well. And having said that, anybody any questions, I am calling it a night. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining me, those who came in and out. I appreciate your time, value. So again, the YouTube channel, for whatever reason, did not allow me to show my screen because I definitely want to show you some actual stuff. Again, Nezo, anybody else, sleep and live and learn. Thank you for coming, but also know that you guys could create an account. You could even create a free account tonight. It doesn't matter, and finish everything tomorrow morning. You don't have to fund it, but you can start browsing around and see what's out there because some amazing stuff, and I share some companies with you. And again, your preferences is what determines what you see. So if you don't take the time to set your preferences, and make sure you subscribe to these alerts because there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and there's companies being added all the time. There's some big companies that's closing this week. I'm not here to drop names, but you know, see what's good, because there's some stuff I'm trying to close out before the end of next week, because I have to invest, because time when it comes to investing is very important, because every round is different, most likely, and the amount of shares and the value of how much it costs you, time is of the essence. So with that said, thank you and have a good night. And I'll see those who want to see a full recap tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll be live 4 p.m. East Coast time. That's tomorrow, Sunday, August 20th. All right. Good night, everybody.